Hey guys, welcome back. We're now on part 3 of our white label game. In this part we will be looking at basic fighting. We'll be fighting enemies. We will be looking at gaining experience and leveling up. Now the first thing we need to do is we need to set up an enemies table. Our enemies table will look similar to our players table. It's going to have an enemy ID, we will have an enemy name, the HP and strength and defense. So that's 1, 2, 4, 5 rows we need to add there. So let's create our enemy table with 5 rows. So we have our ID, which is an integer. This one has got a primary index and auto increment. We have our enemy name, which is varchar. Oops. We've got enemy HP, strength and defense. Right, now we need to actually populate this with some enemies. So I'm going to put in a couple of enemies and you can join me back once I've done that. Right, so I've inserted 5 enemies. I've got blue blob, a red blob, thick blob, swift blob and blobzilla. Now blobzilla will be act as our boss for this. Blue and red blob have got both the same stats. Our thick blob and our swift blob have both got low HP, but they've got higher strength or defense stats. Our thick blob has got a higher defense stat, and our swift blob has got a higher strength stat. Blobzilla, on the other hand, is better in all 3 fields. Now, the question is like, how are we going to handle this? How are we going to handle fighting and basically recognizing that we are actually in a fight, and how we're going to control the enemy stats rather than feeding off of one table and altering stats in there. Right, now I've forgotten where I was because I had trouble logging into my developer account to get back onto the game. Right, the way I plan on handling it is that when we go into a new game, a new battle, a new instance of these enemies will be created into a separate table, and it will contain the enemy ID, not the enemy ID, our user ID, the enemy name, HP, strength and defense. Obviously, the only thing that's going to change here is the enemy HP. We can alter our stats on our actual players table. So what we need to do is we need to create a new table that replicates the enemy one, and we'll just call this fight table. Again, 5 fields, and it will contain exactly the same fields as our enemy one did, except where the ID was, it will now be our user ID. And there we have it. The reason I'm doing this is because what we can do is we can force someone to stay inside a battle unless they click run. And it doesn't matter if they log out, because we can run a simple check to see if they're actually in a battle with an enemy, and we can force them back into that fight when they log on, or try and change page, and I will show you how to do that. So we'll save that table. Right, now we want to go back over to our index, our play.php page, and we'll just save a copy as fight.php. And for some reason my computer seems to be freezing on me at the moment. Okay. So, right, we don't need that. What we want to do is, when this page loads, for now, we will run a simple query, just a random, to pick a random enemy, just like we did with the hunting script. So I'm going to write that out, and then I'll be back. Right, and there's the query. It's just, again, we're selecting all the information from the enemy table. We're ordering it by random and limiting it to 1, so we only get one result back. We're then running the query and fetching the objects, fetching the data into objects into the row variable. What we need to do now is we need to now put all this data into our fight table. And it's just pretty simple. It's basically just an insert query. Right, so that'll be our insert query. Now before we do this, what we want to do is just test to make sure this is fetching an enemy for us. So what I will do is I will just echo out the enemy name, and I'll go back over to here, and I'll copy that link and just excuse me, put fight there. So now when we come back over to play, we've got our fight, and something's wrong. My bad. God, I'm all over the place now. Okay. Let's have a look. Select all from enemy, ordered by random, limit 1. Well, let's all see what I'm doing wrong here. It's going to be something plainly obvious, I can guarantee you that. And syntax. What have I done? That is the right table name, I'm sure of it. Enemy. Okay, while I figure out what the hell's going on here, I'll be back in a second. Okay, I've figured out what I've done wrong here. Now, where I've actually put order. So we need to change that to order, and then we can try again. There we go. Right, we've got a red blob. We've got a thick blob, swift blob, red blob, swift blob. So yeah, we know this is coming out okay. Oh, flipping hell. I'm going to close that. Right. So what we need to do now is we can insert this into our fight database. Now, in order to stop us from filling up the database with fight instances, we need to just do an if statement to make sure that that there isn't already an instance for us in that table. Right, so as you can see here, all I've done is a quick select from the fight table where our user ID equals our user ID. If number of rows is less than 1, then we want to create a new fight instance. Else, what we're going to do is we are going to reload that information. So we can copy this and just change the name of the table from from enemy to fight. We can get rid of, in fact, all of that, and we want to replace it with where the user ID equals the session user ID. So if we test this out, what we should find is that the same name appears no matter what. So we're now fighting Blobzilla. And don't just love it when things go wrong. Now let's find out what's going wrong here. I swear it is not my day today. Yeah, blob. Okay, I'd missed the quote marks out of there. So now if we try again, blue blob, and doesn't matter how many times we refresh, we go into fight, we're being told that we are fighting the blue blob. Still has a HP of 10, a strength and defense of 4. So what I'm going to do now is we will add in these extra bits to say what our enemy's stats currently are. So we have our HP will be set, and we'll add a break tag in there. We don't really want to show the strength and defense because you don't want to give too much away. So you can delete that. And I've got to hurry this up now. Right. Enemy HP. Done. Go back to there. And there we have it. Right. That's the end of this video. Join me back on the next one.